Well, at this point in your reading of the Gospel of Matthew, you've come to a very busy and important week in the life of Jesus. It's his last week on earth prior to the crucifixion. And we see the reaction of the crowds on the various days. And they're interesting. In Matthew 21, which is where we see the triumphal entry on the first day of the week, he enters, and the crowds are shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Hosanna in the highest." And those that are in Jerusalem and entering Jerusalem are saying, "Who is this person?" And people are saying, well, this is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee. And then after the triumphal entry, we see him in the temple, and he's upset. He's overturning tables. But the reaction from the chief priest is not the reaction to the tables. It's to him healing in the temple. And they says that the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things that he'd done, and the children shouting to him, "Hosanna to the Son of David." It says they become indignant, and they're upset, not about the tables, but what the children are saying. Later on, we see people asking him questions, and you've got these groups that want to seize him, but they're afraid of the people, so they won't do anything, or they won't ask him any more questions because he's stumped them in his responses. The passage I want you to focus on ends this way. It says, after hearing what he says, they were amazed. And then they go away. So here's the passage, here's the teaching of Jesus that amazes the people. It's Matthew 22, verses 15 to 22. It says, the Pharisees went and plotted together how they might trap Jesus in what he said. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are truthful and teach the way of God in truth, and defer to no one, for you're not partial to any." Now, they had certainly seen Jesus deal with them honestly. This bit about him teaching the truth, well, I don't think they're dealing honestly at this point. So they say, "Tell us, what do you think? Is it lawful to give a poll tax to Caesar or not?" But Jesus perceived their malice and said, "Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the poll tax." And they brought him a denarius. And he says, "Whose likeness and inscription is on this coin, on this denarius?" And they respond, "It's Caesar's." And so Jesus says to them, "Then render to Caesar's the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." And after hearing this, they were amazed, and leaving him, they went away. So again, the way in which Jesus answers the Pharisees, answers the Herodians, answers the scribes, answers the Sadducees in ways that we don't expect. And here we see answering a question with a question. Is it lawful to pay the poll tax? Well, I don't know. Let me see the coin. Whose image is on this? And so we've seen this question really become a question that we had to answer over the recent history with COVID and shutdowns and churches. Will we gather, and how will we determine, and who will we listen to? And many appealed to a verse like this. Well, we need to render to Caesar's that which is Caesar's. And people have used that verse to say, well, we really need to obey the government and whatever they say. Well, the point of the whole question is not to render unto Caesar's that which is Caesar's. What's left unsaid, and what's the greater point of this teaching, is this. Jesus says, whose image is on the coin? Well, it's Caesar's. That's obvious. And so he says, render unto Caesar's that which is Caesar's. But what he adds, render unto God that which is God. Well, how do we judge that? And the implied question is this: whose image is on you? And as believers in Jesus, as those created in the image of God and those recreated in the image of his Son, we are those who are to render unto God the things which are God's. Keep reading.